Hey, welcome Facebook audience. And again, we are also putting this up on my Twitter. That's at Jeannie Ives. Pretty simple to remember. Listen, I'm going to be coming in for these little short, brief conversations every day this week, except for Friday, because there's way too much going on not to take the opportunity to explain to people what they're not seeing. And so that's what I like to do. I like to get experts in front of you, people who are really dealing with things. And so today, I'm talking with Garrett Ziegler. Of course, you know him as the person who put out the Biden laptop in a book form. And he's also being sued by Hunter Biden. Now, interestingly, Hunter Biden's going to get a pardon. And meanwhile, Garrett's still going to be on the line for this $2 million lawsuit that Hunter Biden has going against him. I think, Garrett, that actually what Hunter Biden's trying to do is find another place where he can get a payout. So, of course, he's suing you for simply printing the truth, printing everything that's in the laptop. But let's get right to it. Again, friends, You know Garrett Ziegler. He's been on before. He's this kid from Effingham. Sorry, but you are to me still just a kid.
All good.
Same age as my oldest. You're just this kid from Effingham who went up to the Trump administration, worked for Peter Navarro, came back, saw what was happening, decided to pick apart Biden's laptop, and you published it. And for that, just publishing the truth, you are being sued by Hunter Biden. So he gets a pardon. You're still on the hook for a $2 million potentially. What the hell? Garrett, give me your first impressions of this Hunter Biden laptop or this Hunter Biden pardon.
I think the entire saga is probably one of the top half dozen scandals of the 21st century. Obviously, I think 9/11's up there, number one. The Forever Wars are number two. But the Biden laptop is somewhere behind those. It's that far-reaching. What do I mean by that? It goes right to the big guy himself. The length of the blanket pardon was twice what Gerald Ford gave to Richard Nixon. It goes from January 1st, 2014 to December 1st of 2024. 11 years, 10 years, 11 months. It's an absolute disgrace. It just goes to show that, like you said, everything we put in our book is what the president pardoned him for. Now, hilariously, some of the crimes in the book precede January 1st, 2014, but those are statute of limitation out. The left.
Well, hold on a second right there. That is a really, really good point, because part of the discussion surrounding the pardon right now is that because he's pardoned, now he can go testify because he can't plead the fifth to Congress. So now he's got to. It's a must-have testimony. And then some people are saying, but there could be state crimes involved, so he can still plead the fifth. But you're right. If the statute of limitations has already run out on those state crimes, could he still be held accountable, or at least have the story come out by being subpoenaed by Congress and having to testify?
If we assume that the Republican congressmen are going to grow a backbone, that's a possibility. I think it's the same possibility that the state AGs and the local prosecutors, the left figured out the cheat code with Trump. Now, it backfired because he was elected the 47th president, but they went after him at the state level in Georgia and at the local level in New York. And that is what nobody with Hunter Biden has done, even though he committed numerous state level felonies. The real value out of the book is that we put the literal code, the actual statute that he violated, in a three-columned table. So there's no ambiguity. We know the exact code he violated, from procuring prostitutes on the lower end to money laundering. There are actionable money laundering felonies within the state of Arkansas right now that are at the tail end of their statute of limitations. It's 5 years in Arkansas. And the Republicans aren't doing anything about it. It's an abomination. So he is above the law. That's the favorite phrase of the left. Hunter Biden is above the federal law from 2014 to 2024, but nobody is above the state and local laws. And so if the public is wanting a task to do, that is their task, to put pressure on the local prosecutors to apply the law equally. We are never going to advocate for lawfare, but Hunter Biden clearly committed felonies. His own daddy knows. That's why he gave him an 11-year pardon. But Joey can't pardon the state crimes. Many were committed. We break them down by state in our book.
Are there any in Illinois?
No.
Unfortunately, because I'd love to tee up that lawsuit.
Yes, a Supreme Court justice was in Effingham today. He was at the courthouse, the one that's elected from the lower 48 counties. You know, the kind of county I'm from, where there's only 35,000 people. And I made sure that he got a copy of our book, even though there's no Illinois criminal violations. But, you know, there's many connections to Illinois. His wife is from Illinois. One of his business partners, Jeff Cooper, lives in Edwardsville, 45 minutes up I-70 from me. So Hunter has connections to Illinois, but this, in terms of jurisdiction, you know, because we're fair-minded, the right writ large follows the Constitution. The Sixth Amendment's very clear. You have to be charged in the district in which the crime is committed. And the jurisdiction is in mostly blue states: California, New York, D.C., not a state, but still a jurisdiction, Delaware. But Arkansas, Louisiana are two states that are red, that have sensible prosecutors, and they're still not doing anything with the Biden crimes.
Well, that's unfortunate, because the truth is that he, you know, the Biden pardon basically said that he was singled out for this political prosecution. This is a problem. But if anybody put that to rest, it was the IRS whistleblowers, who actually said that the opposite is true. That instead, Hunter Biden was given special consideration in not having everything done to him that could have been done. In fact, this is, one of the whistleblowers.
Gary Shapley.
Yes, and he was on with Martha McCallum, and he says, I'm a Democrat, and I'm a person that believes in the rule of law. When you look at what he was charged with, meaning Hunter Biden, criminal tax evasion, and what he pled guilty to, there's thousands of taxpayers who honestly file their taxes. They pay their taxes on time, and I think they should be disappointed by this, because they're held up to a standard that's different than the political elite, said Ziegler. So that's what
Ziegler
said.
too.
Yep.
The other, it's a great point. I'm glad you bring them up. I think that they're essential to the truth getting out. Joe Ziegler and Gary Shapley are courageous. I think Shapley's heroic. Shapley's the one that this supervisory special agent that's been retaliated against. He was the lead agent on the case. He's the first whistleblower that came forward. They are suing Abby Lowell, the same lawyer suing me, for defamation, because the Biden lawyer, you know, and it's run out of a Chicago-based law firm. Talk about Illinois connections with Hunter. Winston & Strawn is the firm that's suing me. Winston & Strawn, longtime Chicago HQ'd firm that is prestigious in Illinois. But they're at the tip of the spear with lawfare, and that's who the whistleblowers are suing. And it's a great point you bring up, that they turned Joe's statement around. You know, there's two things about this pardon that the American people can't stomach. If Joey, first of all, I don't think they can stomach this. If Joey would have said nothing in the last 6 months when it was asked if he'd pardon him, saying, I can't comment on that right now, and then on Sunday night say, I changed my mind, I'm pardoning my son, I think the American people could stomach the guy. What they cannot stomach is the 6 months of lying by him and KJP. And then, that's the first lie, saying he wouldn't do it and then doing it. The second lie is that statement he released. You know, the pardon is very short. It's legalese. It's, you know, to all these presents. It's very legal. The statement that he released in addition to the pardon was an abomination. Not a single line of that was true. And he didn't have to do that. He could have issued the pardon and had a 2-line statement that said, my son has made mistakes. I love him dearly. I'm pardoning him. The American people will understand. He should have made that statement, even though I don't agree with it. I don't think Joe loved it.
He absolutely should have been said that, because here's another article. This one happens to be from the Epoch Times, but a lot of other places have reported on it. But this is the special counsel. He says Hunter Biden was not selectively prosecuted. And the article says President Joe Biden's claims that his son, about his son being selectively prosecuted, were unfounded. Special counsel David Weiss's office has said in the new filings. He said there has never been any evidence of vindictive or selective prosecution in this case. Weiss and other federal prosecutors told a federal judge in Delaware. And that's remarkable, because, well, Weiss was appointed by Trump, but he was retained by Biden, and he is the special counsel. And Joe Biden basically said this was a vindictive prosecution. Yes. And here's the special counsel saying that is absolutely not true. There's nothing true about that. Then you have the IRS whistleblower saying he was actually given special treatment that other taxpayers wouldn't be afforded. And so this whole thing is a lie. It's absolutely a lie. But to your other point, being that Joe Biden lied about not going to pardon him. Okay, I am so sorry. But if anybody believed Joe Biden, who did say it repeatedly that he's not pardoning his son, if anybody believed that, I mean, just like I wrote on Twitter, go ahead, find your face mask, go get a mask, go get another booster, go walk down the grocery aisle one way, stay 6 feet apart for everybody, because you bought into all those lies as well. Yes. I mean, come on.
He constantly says,
he was going to pardon him. Yes. Everybody knew it.
He constantly says, my word is a Biden. Well, now the public, if they didn't already, knows that word is a Biden isn't worth, as one famous historian said, a warm pitcher of piss. That's what he called the vice presidency, a warm pitcher of urine. And that's what his word is a Biden now. It personally, speaking away from Marco Polo, on a personal level, I'm very gratified that the public has decided that his legacy now will be worse than Jimmy Carter. At least Jimmy built some houses after he was killed by Ronald Reagan at the polls. Joey will have a worse legacy than Jimmy Carter. That's so gratifying to me personally, knowing how corrupt he is. And the reason why I bring that up is the pardon is a good bookend to this absolute disaster of 8 million illegals, right, poisoning the country with fentanyl, murders. Laken Riley and her parents surely wished that look at the double standard of the application of the law here. You had a guy that, I know I'm going in a different direction with Laken Riley, but I'm going to zoom in on this really quickly. Your daughter gets murdered by an illegal who had already committed crimes here. So Joey had such disrespect for the law, the statutes that were passed by the U.S. Congress, that his agents let an illegal stay here, even though he had a deportation order. And in addition to that, he has such disrespect for the law that he nullified what a jury decided. Talk about vindictive prosecution. Hunter was convicted by a jury in Delaware of all places. It wasn't like he just pled guilty to both of the charges. No, a jury found him guilty. I was there. His wife called me a Nazi and said I had no right to be there because that's the type of scum these people are. They think that if they don't like you, you have no right to be in a public place. That's how decrepit and evil.
But you know what? That attitude is prevalent among many Democrats wherever you find them, and specifically in the State House in Springfield. Their opinion is you have no opinion if you're a Republican. We don't want to hear from you. We will call you your names. This is exactly how they act. This is how they acted in Wheaton when Movable Feast, a very well-known restaurant, put up the sign saying, Jesus is my savior, Trump is my president. And they got hate after hate. And people wanted to say, oh, it's coming outside of Wheaton. No, it's not. You have absolutely nut job, crazy Wheaton women who believe this crap and don't want to shut down your restaurant because you actually think that Jesus is your savior. And oh, by the way, Trump is your president. And you're okay with that. But they don't want you to have an opinion. This is not just something against you, Garrett. This is them writ large. This is the Democrat Party. That you do not have a voice. They don't want you to have a voice. They are mean and nasty people to their core. They wrote the C word on my political signs during my congressional campaign. Who the hell does that? They do. Their side does it.
Yes.
They're all, Kasten could not be a more nasty person to campaign against. He's a nasty human being who has never volunteered for anything his entire life. And the Democrat women love him. They love him.
I love that you point out.
I cannot stress that enough.
I'm appreciative that you pointed out the women are involved.
Oh my gosh. Yes, of course.
Yeah, no.
Of course they did.
It's a third rail that most people won't touch, and it's essential. The core of there's only one core group that liked Kamala. The blacks didn't, especially black men, and they hated when Hussein went into their barbershop and talked down to him and called them misogynist because they didn't like and they didn't stump for heels up. No, her core of support is wealthy, affluent, stay-at-home, liberal leftist moms.
Insulated from their own bad policy choices.
Couldn't have said it better. They do not live according. Some of them actually have very conservative lifestyles. They take the kids to soccer and they watch The View, which is cancerous. That type of programming, you might as well just put plaque in your arteries That is the analogy that I'm getting in my head. Is it's mental plaque, and to the degree we have to stomp those people out of the public square peacefully. What I mean by that is they have to become such a minority that their political power is irrelevant. It is still irrelevant. You know, Trump got 45% in Illinois, much more than.
Well, in DuPage County, he only did 2% better. He got like 41%.
Yes,
it's pretty abysmal to hear.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering how we get in. By the way, that contingent is the same contingent saying that Hunter Biden is a private citizen, even though Hunter Biden was appointed to the U.S. Hunter Biden was appointed by George W. Bush to be the vice chairman of Amtrak and was confirmed by the U.S. Senate. Most people don't know that. I was at U Chicago last night. I had a very warm welcome. There's about 20 students there. All of them were friendly. U Chicago. And one of the things I mentioned is that one of the key myths of this entire saga is that Hunter Biden was a private citizen. Hunter Biden was the vice chairman of Amtrak when his daddy was the VP, and he had lobbyist clients. He was an unregistered lobbyist, by the way, that had business with Amtrak. He's been grifting off of the public position of his family and his own public position for years. The idea that this is a private citizen with no connection whatsoever to the public dole is a joke, and that's what this book is about. You know what? Hunter can get pardoned at the federal level. A lot of people saw this coming. What they cannot do is suppress the truth. They can do nothing to stop the tens of thousands of books that have been shipped across the country now.
Yeah, but we want accountability too, and I'm hoping that accountability is coming. And we may not get it accountability to the Bidens may not actually have to pay for the sins that they've done. And by the way, the guy is textbook FARA violation. Textbook. I mean, this is not even close. And they're not.
He's more corrupt than Madigan.
That one thing. I mean, I had a girlfriend. Yeah. I mean, I had a girlfriend. She got charged with a FARA violation simply because she was friendly with the head of one of the African nations, and she told me the whole saga. She wanted me to get my congressman involved on her behalf. She sat in my living room for 3 hours and cried about what was going on with her. You know, they were trying to basically tear apart her entire career in the process of her violating FARA. She never did anything like that. She wasn't a paid lobbyist for anybody. She took some trips over there, but she wasn't doing anything with whatever. My point is that they have gone after regular, ordinary citizens for relationships that they happen to have with political people in other parts of the world. And she was scared out of her mind over this FARA violation she was getting accused of, which was all made up. And here's Hunter Biden getting away with all of this. And this is the problem. Ordinary citizens in any other situation would have been completely prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And here he's getting a full pardon, even for sins or crimes not committed.
Yes. Again, there's nothing like this in modern history. Nothing. When George Washington pardoned the Whiskey Rebellion people, even that wasn't blanket in terms of the timeline. We have 11 years. That's more than a third of my life. I was in high school when the pardon starts. So it is egregious. And remember, this is not a black sheep of the family. If Joe was just straight up and he had the ability to tell the truth, he would say, my son is troubled. I'm using my power to protect him. No, he said that Hunter was the smartest man he knows from a pure intellectual capacity. So anybody who even hates Biden should be interested in who is this smartest man Joe knows. If you're watching this today and you've never heard of me, good chance you haven't. Just take Joey at his word for that one statement. Learn about the smartest man the U.S. president knows. Learn about him. It's a good sociological experiment to learn about these people. You'll see some Illinoisans in there. Jeff Cooper, Kathleen Biden, etc.
Well, hey, Garrett, I just wanted to have you on and get your reaction to this blanket pardon. And I appreciate it because you're so smart about all these issues. You've added a lot of context. But you're still embroiled in a lawsuit. So
yes.
I know people could support you simply by buying a hardbound copy of your book. Yep. Where can they find that book and how else can they support your efforts?
Yes. So the physical copies fund our nonprofit. So Hunter sued me personally and the nonprofit entity in the Central District of California Federal Court in Los Angeles. Our trial is set for September. And you can go to fightbiden.org for the legal defense fund. That goes right to our legal defense fund. And again, that all goes to the C3, so it's tax deductible. To get a physical copy, just go to bidenlaptopreport.com. bidenlaptopreport.com. You can order up to 15 copies. There's a lot of people who are doing these things in bulk for just handing them out as Christmas gifts to everybody. Because again, there's been a surge of interest. If you want to know, if you had been under a rock for the last 2 years and you didn't know anything about Hunter, this pardon has awakened curiosity within people. Like, what the heck? What has he been doing for the last 11 years? This is your answer. There is no resource like this on planet Earth. Miranda Devine, she wrote 2 great books. She was consulting us for the research. We're the PI group that read 128,000 emails. And if you're interested at all in who Joe is, there's a lot of communications with Hunter and Joe that you'll never find. This idea that he is Uncle Joe, Honorable Uncle Joe, who's selfless. The last 6 months have shattered that. And that is good for the nation. It's good for our historical memory to know how much of a scumbag this guy is.
Yes, and not forget it for elections to come, because the Democrat Party put him up. They kept him in there for as long as they could until it became impossible not to. And then they replaced him with an equally worthless candidate in Kamala Harris. So anyway, Garrett, thank you so much for adding.
Before we go, the next
Yeah.
time I come on, maybe let's do a quick show after the Madigan verdict.
Yeah, that's a great idea. You went to the Madigan trial yesterday and sat in on it. I've sat in on it. My reveille this week is about that Madigan trial. And I think that we should do a nice little recap after the verdict comes in.
He's going to get it. It'll be a Christmas present, a good one or a bad one for him. I think the verdict, they may deliberate for 3 or 4 days, but I think it'll come before Christmas.
Okay, because last time I was there, I thought the trial was going to be extended into January. Is your new information that they should be coming to a conclusion before Christmas?
Yeah, it might be the 23rd.
Okay.
That Friday before, but that's what I've heard. That's what I read in Tribune.
Okay. Wow. Very good. All right. Again, Garrett Ziegler, you can go to Marco Polo 501c3.org, or you can go to bidenlaptopreport.com.
Yes, that
has your copy and help support his efforts to defeat in court Hunter Biden. Thank you so much, Garrett, for joining me.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Okay. Thanks a lot, audience. And we will see you tomorrow for another one of these Facebook Lives.